presentation of TFNN. The Tom O'Brien Show is produced every business day. Tom takes your phone calls toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Let's go to John in Orlando. John, what's going on, brother?
Good afternoon, Tom. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Yourself?
Good. I want to tell you, I've been listening to you since your radio days back in '99. Appreciate what you guys do. But what I really enjoy that you brought back Tim Ward. This guy is as smart as a whip.
I am so happy for that feedback.
Yeah, because he's one of a kind. He's got to be the number one market timer. I'm telling you, it's like he called it really, really good.
He does. I really appreciate the feedback, man.
Yes.
Now, Tom O'Brien.
Surprise, everyone. It is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tom O'Brien. Again, he will be back with us Wednesday. Let's take a look before we break into anything. I want to go over real quick to TFNN.com, and we sent out emails and everything, but we are starting the July double bonus sale for Tiger Dollars. This is fantastic. So you get a 20% bonus. These tiers are phenomenal. I know a lot of you guys look forward to this every year. We do one in December and then in July as well. We are rocking this. Ends July 22nd. So you get a 20% bonus for the first tier. We got 30% bonus for the second, and then a 40% bonus as well. Now, this is applied to every purchase that you make through TFNN. That is applied first. They never expire. They're transferable, all that good stuff. And there's no better time to get into that because we have another installment of Live Trading Fridays with Larry this Friday. Now, these are awesome. Again, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. That is Eastern time. You just sit with Larry. You sit with Larry, you watch him trade. Now, he's been in the game for so long. All of you guys love his programming. If you have not checked this out yet, just come on, right? We have the code LarryJuly24. That's going to save $50 for your first month. This is a perfect package right now. We have some other interesting stuff coming up this month as well, but I'm going to stay quiet on that and wait for you guys to see. Let's take a look at what we've going on in the market. It's like flat. Nothing's going on, huh? The SPY is flat. The E-mini is flat. The Russell future's up a little bit. The NQ's flat. Comp barely up anything at all. And the Dow future's down slightly. And then just the Dow itself down slightly as well. Gold coming off a little bit. A lot of people are calling that. I'm looking at it on the daily chart. Just switch to the yearly. Just for the looks. A lot of people are saying this is just sell off. Of course, we're going to have Tim Ward on tomorrow and Thursday, and then Tom will be back as well. Again, if you haven't checked out Tom's gold report, strongly recommend doing so because he goes over all these metals and just a general trajectory of gold in the miners. Silver off about 2.4% right now. Copper as well. Crude oil also off slightly, trading down 1.24%. The crude futures at 82.13. Steel Dynamics doing nothing. Tesla kind of slowing down a little bit. That is unbelievable. This whole day, I don't know what got into me, but I was looking at Tesla. I, of course, was not going to buy at this point. But that is pretty substantial volume to that upside, right? I mean, that's not just creeping up and a few people doing it. What else? I was looking at Rivian, Nikola, which is insane. We can talk about that a little bit. Let's look at what Nikola's trading at right now. And I thought this company was dead, but it's not. We're up 22.69% today on substantial volume as well. This is a company with a very troubled past, but it looks like they're rebounding a little bit. They have some deals with Walmart Canada with their hydrogen fuel cells. We'll talk a little bit about that. And Nike as well, because this has just been a lot of things that people are talking about. Disney continuing to do this thing that it does, down at 97.27. Not a lot really going on in that company right now. What was I looking at as well? It's Palantir, okay? And I have a really rough relationship with this company. I've been locked in it for years. When I was learning how to trade, like as a young man, I made silly mistakes, as we all do, and it ended up getting me into Palantir a little bit actually below this price right now. And I am so tempted to get out of the thing. it is such a strange company, okay? And I'm conflicted on this, right? You have a market cap of $59 billion. That's way above their revenue. The PE is 232, which is nuts. I think NVIDIA is just 73 or something. You have this forming right now, which is what I'm pretty sure is just a bearish hammer, which is not good. You have a move up on no real significant volume. Okay, Karp is interesting into how he talks to the short sellers. Obviously, the U.S. uses this for data aggregation. It might be used widespread for data aggregation as well for the rollout of AI, which would be super unique. I know that people, at least from what I've heard from friends that I have or whatever, that are in the military, that they like this platform and it's used. And they're focusing more on expanding throughout America, not so much into other NATO countries. If it really catches on in a major way in America, and I'm talking even within private companies, then you can expand out, to Europe and maybe NATO countries in particular. And this would be great for this company. But I'm conflicted on it right now, and I'm just talking for myself, honestly, because I kind of want to take profits after being in it for so long. But something that is really neat that they have done, this is 5 days ago, okay? They have something called AIP, all right? And this is just the basic aggregation of data for AI, okay? And they've made it free. They've made the base free, which is going to be massive for getting that out to we even talk about, just the private sector and in general business or anything like that. This is massive. Now that's going to cut a little bit, maybe into the short term into their revenue, but the AIP Enterprise is still upgradable, and they have a bunch of different suites, right? And I think this in particular is really cool with Palantir. And so that's kind of my thought on it right now, and I kind of wanted to just talk that out. If anyone has any other opinions that they have developed on Palantir, I would love to hear it. We love listening to that kind of stuff. We can talk a little bit about Nikola before the break here. Give me a second to pull everything up. So the big news, this came out last Friday. We have a little bit more news as well. So for Q2 2024, the Nikola wholesaled 72 Class 8 Nikola hydrogen fuel cell trucks. That's above the high end of truck sales guidance of 60 units, so they smashed that. The firm reports that it wholesaled 112 hydrogen fuel cell trucks for 2024. The CEO said we have maintained our 2024 momentum with solid wholesale numbers, new customers such as Walmart Canada, and repeat customers like Forgen and IMC. Let me see. Anything else interesting from them? That's really the big thing, right? That you have Wayfair testing Nikola trucks, which is important. I don't know. That's just, if you're holding at this level and you got in, congrats, as long as it's below that price point. But folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Steve Rhodes.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstad's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstad releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
The stock market is a delicate, interconnecting web of commodities, equities, and trader psychology. When one string of the web is pulled, it has a ripple effect across the broader market. This is where opportunity lies. But how are you to gather all of this information into one cohesive model when you're already spending your energy looking for any possible trade opportunities? Luckily, you don't have to worry about that, as Tom O'Brien has brought all important market news to you in one single newsletter, Market Insights. Market Insights provides a daily overview of what's happening in the indexes, bonds, gold, and more. Follow along with Tom daily as he analyzes the components that affect the overall movement of the stock market, giving insight into how each one plays either a bullish or bearish role. Tom also analyzes specific equities that he believes has the potential to make huge returns, and his track record proves his analysis right. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Don't let the market leave you in the dust.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Welcome back, folks. This is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tom O'Brien. We take a look over on this screen here. We're back on the TFNN homepage. Now, what I want to talk to you all about, we were talking about the Tiger Dollar sales, and this kind of corresponds a little bit in what we're going to go into now, which is the Mastering Probability newsletter by Steve Rhodes. Now, you've heard me on here before, talk with Steve Rhodes, and I love this newsletter. It's extremely thorough. Steve's show is obviously so interactive. If you haven't checked it out, really recommend it. And if you haven't gotten Mastering Probability before, well, we have a 30-day money-back guarantee for all of our newsletters. And if you are a current subscriber as well, there's no better time to go ahead and up on your Tiger Dollars. Again, we have up to a 40% bonus, and that is just going to be savings across the board. And that will be applied to your newsletter purchase as well. Steve Rhodes, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jacob. Yourself today?
I'm doing well. Maybe you can lament with me this humidity we're having in Florida. It's killing me. But
humidity, it's in the 70s down here in Delray Beach. In my house.
Yeah, right, exactly. I was about to say, how is that? Anyway.
Yeah. Well, you know, the cool thing, I mean, not necessarily that it's a cool thing with regard to a hurricane that it's, you know, the Houston type area out there. Yeah. So feel for those folks. And thank goodness only Category 1. But you have to admit, at least on the east coast of Florida, we've had some really nice weather, so to speak, because it sucked out a lot of that,
right.
Rain, still humid, but at least it sucked that out. So those are the nice things about those storms. But it's coming back, but the reality is it's warm everywhere, right? So it's not just Florida, that's in fact what's kind of interesting about Florida is we don't really ever get up into the hundreds, other than the feel like temperature out there,
right?
But not from a degree standpoint. So it's
that is something to be thankful for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And most of the year, we don't have too much to complain about. So
fantastic.
So that's what's going on.
Well, so Steve, what are we looking at today?
Yeah, good question. Now, I tell you what, I've received a number of questions from folks about whether or not the stock market is getting ready for a major market crash. So I thought, hey, why don't we discuss that? I can show you what my charts are communicating to us, and we'll go from there. So this is an actual photo from a guy named Walter Thornton. He was a trader back in the 1920s, and he lost all of his money during the 1921 crash. So he was actually offering. I mean, it's a real live individual and a car, and that's he was selling that Sportster for $100 in cash, Roadster for $100 in cash out there. So is the stock market getting ready for a major market crash? Well, we talked about 1929. So when we take a look at the pattern, so as you mentioned, we've got Tiger dollars out there. It's a great time to test drive a Mastering Probability, because the things that we're going to talk about today, first, they work for all time frames. So even though we're going to take a look at a bigger picture, daily, weekly, and monthly time frame out there, if you're an intraday trader, these tools work for that. And those folks that tune in to the Trader's Edge show, they get to see us use that for all different time frames. But when it comes to identifying, major market tops or bottoms out there, we're not using those intraday charts. In fact, the daily time frame chart becomes the intraday chart for the weekly and then for the monthly out there. So if we take a look at the 1929 top, what we'll see is this had formed a daily, a weekly, and a monthly, what I refer to as a Rhodes Momentum Indicator top. And the way those are confirmed are either bearish reversal candles form or price closes below what I call the oscillator and change line. It's another tool that I use that's really helpful to help us understand what the market is communicating to us. So in the Mastering Probability subscription comes with 2 1-hour classes that focus specifically on this pattern out there, it would allow people to identify when the potential of the next bear market might form out there. But also, again, if you're an intraday trader out there, it's going to assist you with regard to understanding the same type of top, and it's a matter of being able to identify where support is at out there. So in 1929, what we know is on a daily, a weekly, and a monthly time frame, we had topping signals that warned those traders that something could go awry out there. Well, let's move off of the 1929 market, and let's take a look at now. I took a snapshot of these pictures at 12:30 this afternoon, and so the Dow still had what's referred to as a Gartley sell pattern. What I mean by that, folks, if we take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Index out here, the chart that's on the very left-hand side, this top where there's a blue arrow with a pattern that I refer to as a TD9 count top. And that's another tool that I also trade. So if you subscribe to Mastering Probability, you'll get access to a workshop that'll teach you that. This goes ahead and moves lower. So a Gartley sell pattern is where you believe you have a market that's made a strong move in one direction, in this case here to the downside. And what you're trying to do is look for an entry point in that next move to the downside. Well, we received that a couple weeks ago. And that's where we had A to B equals CD pattern. And a way that I confirm a sell point on an A to B equals CD pattern, or a buy point, on a sell point you need a bearish reversal candle. And we formed this little bear sash candle out here where my cursor is at. And not until price closed above 35,971.23 would that pattern be negated. Guy named H.M. Gartley, it's referred to the Gartley pattern out there. In his book, on page 222, what he's basically telling us is that in a bear market, we don't know if this is a bear market or not just yet, but in a bear market, what you want to do is you want to sell the first Gartley pattern. So the Dow Jones on a daily time frame has that pattern in play. Earlier in the day, that level of 35,971.23 on the daily time frame was tested. It was rejected. So only if that price closes above that will this pattern go away. When we look at the weekly chart and the monthly chart, they both have Rhodes Momentum Indicator tops. So very similar to what we took a look at for the 1929 time frame. So that question about a major top, very pertinent out there. At the 2007 top, and I'm going to do here, Jacob, is switch through different instruments so people can see that these patterns work on, they work on everything out there. We're really agnostic to what the instrument is. It's just a matter of putting the patterns in there. So at the 2007 top, the S&P had a daily TD9 count top. The weekly and monthly had Rhodes Momentum Indicator tops out there. So again, we had precursors to expect or anticipate a move to the downside out there. And so that, again, if I didn't mention that, we've got a 1-hour class that's included in that subscription for Mastering Probability. At 12:42 this afternoon, I took a picture of the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 might form a TD9 count top between today and Wednesday. This is for the daily time frame. So on a TD9 count pattern, we're really looking at bars 8, bars 9, and the bar following bar number 9. Well, today we can see that we spiked above Friday's high. That sets up bar number 8 out there. So we could get a top for the daily time frame for the S&P between today and Wednesday. If we look at the weekly chart out there, it actually confirmed a TD9 count top on Friday. And remember, the top can be on the bars following bar number 9. So we should have a completed TD9 count top pattern come Friday. On a monthly basis, it's only in bar number 8 right now. Again, when you get to a high in bar number 8, it can be a top out there. But we wouldn't get confirmation on this monthly chart right now until we get to September, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. So we do have, this is potential. We want to watch that. And so folks should tune in to the 11 o'clock show. Of course, tomorrow I'm going to fill in for Tommy, and I'll do my show at 9 o'clock. So it'd be a good time for folks to fill in there. Looks
Absolutely.
like now the one thing here that I'll mention to people, the one thing that can stop, even if we get all these signals out here, we can't think just in terms of ourselves. Right now, with all the geopolitics that are going on, what we have to realize is that there's global capital that's finding safety inside the U.S. This chart right here shows that today we have new all-time highs that formed in the U.S. dollar, euros, yen, krona, francs, the Chinese yuan, and the Canadian loonies out there. And this is the one thing that could really make a muted move down lower out there as capital tries to flee those areas out there. So that's what I've got for you.
Steve,
that help?
Thank you so much. So you'll be on tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, correct?
9 a.m., you got it.
Steve, thank you so much. Folks, we'll be right back.
Take care.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The consistency you're looking for is closer than you think. 1 or 2 adjustments are usually all you need to change your equity curve from red to green and keep it there. Come join Larry Pesavento live to learn what separates the winners from the losers. Join Larry Pesavento on the 2nd and 4th Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time, where Larry will show you the market setting up and, most important of all, the state of mind of a winning trader. By watching Larry trade, you'll learn the Fibonacci levels, you'll learn how to apply A to B to C to D trading patterns, you'll learn trade management, pattern recognition, and much more. Join Larry Pesavento on Friday, June 14th and Friday, June 28th this month for his live trading sessions, where you'll sit right beside him as he trades the market live. For this month only, enter code LarryJune24 and save $50 off your first month. For all the information and to reserve your spot today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This portion of the Tom O'Brien Show is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day, Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at direction.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back, folks. This is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tom O'Brien. We just had Steve Rhodes mastering probability on the show. If you missed that, we will definitely have a little excerpt cut out for you afterwards. You can find that on our YouTube channel, TFNN, Tiger Financial News Network. While you're there, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. And like I was saying, if it is your first time trying this newsletter out, strongly recommend it. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee if for whatever reason it doesn't work for you. And there's no better time to try out really any newsletter with our Tiger Dollar sale. Again, that's up to a 40% bonus on your Tiger Dollars, and they never expire and are applied first to all purchases. Let's take a look real quick at Lucid. We were talking about Nikola, up about 22% right now on the news that they sold about 72 hydrogen fuel cell trucks on top of an expected, against an expected 60. And you had Lucid pop up a little bit as well. And this all means something at some point, which I'm going to get to. Yep, 5% nearly, okay? So the firm said it produced 2,110 vehicles and delivered 2,394 units during the second quarter of 2024. This is a 22% increase from the first quarter. Lucid had built then 1,728 units and sold 1,967 units, and that's a 70% increase year over year. Currently has just one model for sale, the Air Luxury Sedan. Okay, so this is one of the things they're kind of, applying this to, or attributing this to, rather, is the price of the Air Pure model coming down from $71,000 to $69,990. Okay. Why I find this somewhat interesting is because I was looking at Rivian. Now, it's kind of hard to compare a little bit these companies, mainly because you're talking about a company that's Rivian's double the size market cap wise compared to Lucid. But this idea is we're getting Rivian quarterlies soon. Okay, and if they can do the same thing that Tesla and Lucid did, all right, and they're selling an SUV roughly the same amount as Air, and I would argue that the Rivian SUVs are a little bit better quality than Lucid's, then we might see a nice move in this stock, okay? Obviously, you jump up in a major way on the news that Volkswagen's dumping money into them. You have some cash in there for developing one of the computer systems that will be used to manage the car. VW will be using it as well. Now, some of that is also convertible notes, which can end up, diluting some of the current holders, but that shouldn't be such a big deal because I do think long-term this company has some substantial staying power. Everyone who buys these things loves them. I could not find a negative review, even people I know in real life like them. And anyways, I'm saying this because I personally took a position in Rivian as well. I think it's just kind of interesting. I like the stock. I think it's kind of, cheap to an extent right now. Again, you still have like a $15 billion market cap. They're starting to not bleed as much money, which is decent. And in an era where you have higher cost of capital, they just got some good cash flow from another company. So that's pretty neat. Regardless, we can talk a little bit more about Lucid as well because they are burning their capital and they don't have any cash injection coming in anytime soon. The company in May warned that its liquidity, a little more than $5 billion, can only cover the next 12 months into the second quarter of 2025. Lucid said it would try to raise $1 billion from an affiliate of Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. They laid off 6% of the workforce, expects to take $21 million to $25 million hit in charges related to the plan, the majority of which will affect its second quarter results. Yeah. It is definitely in a rough spot. And in reality, I see more Rivians and Teslas than I do Lucids. I've seen like one, I think. Anyways, that's kind of my talk on that. Kind of, if you haven't looked into Rivian, I would check it out to do your due diligence like every time. So people were talking about Nike, and I actually saw people on some of the forums I go on talk about Nike as well, because the idea is like, well, come on, it's Nike, right? I mean, is this a buy at this point? And I think you have some issues really with this company. We can go back You go here to like the monthly. You know, I mean, you're going to test this $60 again, right? Like smack on it, last big with volume. And I think really there were some fundamental issues with Nike as well. Not so much like on the balance sheet or whatever, but just the way that this like market is kind of forming. Okay, one, I would say to some of the stuff I've been reading on the forums and even talking to people in real life, it's like, well, it's Nike, it's not going anywhere. And that's true, but that also doesn't mean that the stock price just goes up. It doesn't mean you're in oversold territory. You've seen this with Lululemon. You know, I can apply that just because it's a, you know, a sports athletica kind of company. But there's plenty of examples of companies that stay around and are too large to fail, quote unquote, or to go away. And, you know, they don't go back up to their highs or anything like that. You know, you have, if we go back just to look on a shorter time frame, right, I mean, you have like no volume at all, except to the downside. And, you know, that doesn't look great for that company. I think testing like the $60 level makes sense. If it can bounce off that, well then, you know, maybe you can talk about moving back up from that point. But let's look as well. I mean, you know, they dumped a bunch of money into Olympics ads, but I don't think that really changes people's perspectives. You know, I don't know if we're in an era anymore, at least for this time frame, that you put a brand on a very famous person and everyone buys it. Now, maybe if that's a more like esoteric brand, then yes, but everyone knows what Nike is. And I think people want different things. You have major competition from Reebok. I mean, Saucony's coming back. You know, we've spoken about how their sales declined in China because they're trying to buy, you know, style themselves differently than people in the rest of the world. I think Nike just got big and had its day for a little bit. And I'm sure in the future it'll come back up. But I think that there's a lot of competitors right now in both like true athletica, like I'm going to be running around and I need shoes, or just kind of kicking around throughout the day and you want some kind of style. I think Nike has a lot, you know, maybe to reorient themselves in such a way. But I was thinking the same thing, is why I bring it up. I was thinking like, man, you know, we're talking about Nike here, right? And I looked at the chart and then I started looking at what the general consumer trends were and what I saw advertisement-wise and what I saw influential people online wearing. And again, this all is what the market is, right? And Nike is still dominant, you know, no doubt, right? I mean, what is the... I mean, you still have an $88 billion market cap, right? Major company. But I just think there's some disruptions right now. And I could see those disruptions going for a longer time. I mean, even Wilson's, right? Like the tennis company is coming back out with sneakers that it seems a lot of people are interested in. And that just goes to show that there's, you know, there's a tolerance or at least an appetite from a lot of the consumer market for something other than Nike. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors. For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Tom O'Brien.
Welcome back, folks. This is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tom O'Brien. Let's take a look. We have just an overlook of what's going to happen this week. So the big news, you have Powell tomorrow, which is 11 a.m. You have wholesale inventories at 10 on Wednesday, yearly inflation, and then initial jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. on Thursday, and the monthly PPI, Delta coming out with their earnings, and then on Friday, you have JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citi, and all of them. We can look at Delta since they're coming out with it, and I've seen some people again talking about how this might be an interesting thing to get into. The put-call ratio isn't that bad. But not a lot has been going on with this stock at all. And I came across this very interesting kind of analysis on what's going on, right? Especially, we're in summer times, and they're saying that while air travel demand is huge, the profits aren't. And I think this is kind of interesting to talk about it a little bit. I'm going to pull this over to the screen here so you can take a look. So we'll just start with this, is that the record summer air travel demand isn't translating to record U.S. airline profits. The carriers will have to answer for that disconnect when they report quarterly results this month, so pretty bearish outlook on some of these earnings. Some airlines have forecast record demand and in some cases revenue. On Sunday, the Transportation Security Administration screened more than 3 million people, a one-day record. But the high labor and other costs have eaten into airlines' bottom lines. To adapt to slower demand growth and other challenges, some carriers have slowed, if not halted, hiring compared with hiring sprees when they rebuilt after the pandemic. Some airlines are facing delays of new, more fuel-efficient aircraft from Airbus and Boeing. Obviously, Boeing is a big thing. We can talk about them shortly after this. At the same time, the Pratt & Whitney engine recall grounded dozens of jets. Flight capacities increased, flying about 6% more. Anyways, this is just kind of the chart I wanted to show, right? I don't know. I've never... this is such a hard kind of market, and the margins are so low for these companies. Let's see here. In April, Delta, the most profitable U.S. airline, forecast quarterly adjusted earnings of $2.20 to $2.50 a share for the second quarter, which would be down from the adjusted $2.68 a share brought in a year earlier. And yeah, we look at Delta, we're not really having, even like, just go on a shorter time, we're not getting any movement up, right, to the earnings. Maybe we see that change, depending on what Powell says tomorrow, and then also just, the day before earnings. But regardless, I don't know, kind of like dead in the water with that kind of, honestly, with that industry in general. And yeah, people are moving around and everything, but as you're saying, from that article, a lot of profits getting cut into with some stuff. And I would also say too, like, it's just a pain to travel, even like in recent times, like the past like 2 flights that I took, they were delayed for so long. And, that has to do with a lack of air traffic controllers, which is really the number one thing. But every small thing that builds up to that. I mean, even going to like Manhattan, later last year, I was stuck for like 6 hours for no reason, right? So anyways, we'll see if that works at all. And then the big news, of course, and just kind of the aeronautics industry, is Boeing is going to accept the plea deal to avoid a criminal trial over the 737 MAX crashes, which I hope doesn't take the full heat off them for just everything that they're doing. It's also, I think, sad probably for the victims of those, the relatives of those killed in those jetliner crashes, because, just going to accept a plea deal. I think they're paying, like $245 million, which is like 3% of their cash. And it's like, geez, man. Anyways, Boeing will plead guilty to a criminal fraud charge stemming from 2 crashes of 737 MAX jetliners that killed 346 people. The government determined that the company violated an agreement that had protected it from prosecution for more than 3 years. Federal prosecutors gave Boeing the choice last week to enter a guilty plea and paying a fine as part of its sentence, or facing a trial on the felony criminal charge of conspiracy to defraud the United States. I mean, obviously they're going to accept the plea deal. And that's what's crazy, right? Like, it wasn't for negligence that led to the death of nearly 350 people, but just for defrauding the United States, right? The plea deal, which must still receive approval from the federal judge to take effect, calls for Boeing to pay an additional $243.6 million, so not $245. The deal also requires Boeing to invest at least $455 million in its compliance and safety program. And that's kind of that. And then you had today the FAA orders inspection of 2,600 Boeing 737s over oxygen mask issues. Obviously, turbulence has been a massive problem. Airbus is doing okay in the wake of all of this. But, I have the same idea looking at Boeing, right? Like, is this a buy? Is this oversold? This company isn't going anywhere. I mean, this is grafted in to the state apparatus at this point. But again, you can get to the point where, look at Citigroup, right? Like, you crash, it's still around, but it's not. It's lost 90% of its value, since 2008, and it's not coming back up, right? And I could see that with Boeing. Now, you have had a move up from 159 to like 180 since April, and that's a decent chunk of change, right? But this is not a stock I'm necessarily hyped about. And I would argue, too, what they really need to do is going to have to get rid of their CEO. I think that's already in the works, right? And then they need to be very, very public about it, of how they're going to be vastly different. I still think that there's probably a lot of issues going on with their airplanes that haven't maybe yet been discovered. I don't know what it takes to discover those things. I do know, because I have an acquaintance who tests massive airliners like this, that if they find something pretty critically wrong with it, they have to disassemble the whole thing. To a pretty extreme degree, at least, right? And that costs a ton of money. And I don't know if, $455 million cover that or not, but I still think there's some toxicity in this company at a pretty fundamental level that hasn't been seen yet. And, yeah. So I get nervous with it. But again, you can't argue that, moving from roughly 160 up to 180, 185 even, that's a decent bump. And that's from April as well. So, what else is it? You have a lot of calls. You have job numbers, at least jobless numbers, pretty high, right? Which is good for lowering that Fed fund rate. Will be interesting to see what Powell has to say tomorrow. I think he was dovish last time. And so it'll be nice to see if that still maintains that course. We had some of the bonds going down earlier, I think, as well, right? You have some people playing, a greater increase in bonds going forward, like, between the 10 and 30 years. So that should be interesting to see. I want to talk a little bit, give me 1 second here. Where can I find this? You need to give me a second, folks. I'm trying to wait for this to load up a little bit. I think we're about to go to a break anyways. But I want to get the exact jobless claims and all of that to see where we could be heading. I'm still a little bit suspect of, a September rate decrease. I think probably core CPI might still be a little high. Remains to be seen on that. But if, total CPI, that could be, again, still an argument for decreasing it, which I think media would at least make and the market might kind of take off with. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The stock market is a delicate, interconnecting web of commodities, equities, and trader psychology. When one string of the web is pulled, it has a ripple effect across the broader market. This is where opportunity lies. But how are you to gather all of this information into one cohesive model when you're already spending your energy looking for any possible trade opportunities? Luckily, you don't have to worry about that, as Tom O'Brien has brought all important market news to you in one single newsletter, Market Insights. Market Insights provides a daily overview of what's happening in the indexes, bonds, gold, and more. Follow along with Tom daily as he analyzes the components that affect the overall movement of the stock market, giving insight into how each one plays either a bullish or bearish role. Tom also analyzes specific equities that he believes has the potential to make huge returns, and his track record proves his analysis right. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Don't let the market leave you in the dust.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. A must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN. Educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. I did get the numbers up. This is a June job report. Of course, this was released Friday as well, but you have Powell speaking tomorrow. U.S. labor markets adds up to 206,000 jobs. That's down a little bit from May, and the unemployment rate rises to 4.1%, which is up 0.1% again as well. Again, this is like the kind of track you want to see if you're talking about lowering rates. You have the CME Fed Watch tool pricing in a 75% chance of Fed cuts in September, which is pretty strong, and remains to be seen how that goes. I'm still a little bit skeptical on that, but you are seeing, at least like in Europe and even Canada as well, like much higher unemployment rates. And so, U.S. only becomes, goes shortly after that, I would suppose, right? At least in some circumstances. Just some kind of random news. One of the things that I've been hearing about a lot, and it does happen, is basically foreign entities buying land around military sites, which is very strange. And you can see, you can look up heat maps of this online. It's just very strange. But the U.S. is going to expand control of land sales to foreigners near 56 additional military sites, which is super fascinating, okay? So new Treasury rulemaking would expand the U.S. Committee of Foreign Investment in the United States' powers to review land sales near 56 additional military sites, right? And so essentially what's happening is it tends to be like the Chinese, but they'll buy up a bunch of land right around military bases, which is so nuts to me. That's even a possibility. And then further on that as well, and maybe tomorrow I can look at some satellite companies to see how this might work, but NATO is trying to back efforts to basically reroute internet through space as opposed to the subsea attacks, right? So as it stands now, a lot of that connection is run, through the bottom of the ocean on these deep sea cables. And we've already seen things, with like the pipeline maybe earlier last year, that was sabotaged. And I don't see why that couldn't be the case with these cables. So anyways, quite interesting. Folks, thank you so much for joining me. I will be back with you tomorrow as well. We have Steve Rhodes on tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, filling in for Tommy, and then Basil, Larry, and then I will be with you at 3 p.m. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.